Rama, Krishna Krishna.
Hare
Rama,
prayer.
Hare Rama.
Hare Krishna, Dandvat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare
Prabhu
Rama,
Sambhaji.
Krishna
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Rama, Rama Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama.
Today we are
Rama
actually,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama,
Sri
Hare
Hari
Rama.
Prabhu could kindly help in
Rama
muting.
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Krishna
yes, I will
Krishna, Hare Rama. Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna Hare.
So, yes, we will be starting it up by taking the blessings. I actually picked up a song which will also go with the theme of what we are going to discuss today. As with any Gaudiya song. But we allow them to unmute. Don't keep them to mute. Last time we had.
Sorry, Hare Krishna. Sorry, I just put some setting like that. I removed now. Anybody can unmute yourself. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Hare
but
Krishna.
keep on mute. But yeah, right.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Prabhuji.
Dandavad.
Hare Krishna Sridhar Prabhuji.
So this song is called the Vaishnav Gosai Ebar Karuna Karo. It's by Narottam Das Thakur from Prarthana. It says, "O Vaishnav Goswami, please be merciful to me now. There is no one except you who can purify the fallen souls. Where does anyone find such a merciful personality by whose mere audience shall sins go away? Just by staying at the vicinity of a pure devotee, our sins go away. After bathing in the water of the sacred Ganges, many times one becomes purified, but just by the sight of you, the fallen souls are purified. This is a great path. The holy name delivers one who has committed an offense to Lord Hari. But if one commits an offense to you, there is no means of deliverance. If you do a Nam Prad, you have to chant more Hari Nam. But if you do a Vaishnava Prad, there is no other way other than asking forgiveness. Your heart is always the resting place of Lord Govinda. Govinda says, always with the Lord. The Lord always stays in the heart of the Vaishnavas. And we desire the dust of holy feet of the Vaishnavas every birth. It's a simple Gaudiya beat. So just that we all are on Zoom, so I'll request that you all sing, but sing in mute. But otherwise it goes out of sync because of network difference. Otherwise it's very good to sing together. Ibaro karuna karo Vaishnava Gosai Patita Pavana Tuma Bina ke hona Jaharani Kata Gele Pata Dure Ja Emana Dayala Prabhu Keba Kothapa Gangara Parasaye Asate Pava Darshane Pavitra Kara Tomargo Haristane Aparadhe Hare Harina Tomastane Aparadhe Nahi Parita Tomarahi Daye Sada Govinda Vesha Govinda Kohena Mora Vaishnava Para Prati Janme Khari Yasha Charane Radhu नरतमे कर दया अपना रब बार करुणा करो वैष्णव गोसाई पतित पावन तुम्हारे होना हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल सद्गुरु स्वामी की जय श्री राधा माधव की जय वैष्णव गुरुवृंद की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय हरे कृष्ण so two lines darshane pavitra kare ei tomar gun by seeing a Vaishnava we become purified. This will form the basis of today's discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Tomare Hridaya Sada Govinda Vishwa. Govinda stays in the heart of the devotee. That's one more thing which we will discuss. First of all, I thank you all for coming and joining us for this Srimad Bhagavatam study. We are in the first chapter. I just put forth a little bit of PPT. A minute, it is not showing up. Small PPT for this. Last week, Prabhu gave a Sri Ramachandra Prabhu started it off. So we had very nice discussion on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhu explained to us the qualities of people in Kali Yuga, and he also glorified the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we'll do a little bit of summary of that, and then we shall move across. So these are presiding deities, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra Mai, and Nitai Chaitanya, Vaman Dev. Let's take their blessings. Start with some prayers. Of course, remembering His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Damayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakmanam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Sri Vishakam Tamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrinda Vaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Parakami Haripriya Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Charini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vishnu Padam Samskar Vishnu Padam Samskar. So we are before we read the Bhagavatam, it's advised that we at least remember this. This again comes in the second chapter, which we shall be seeing, but it says Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udire. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance to the personality of God in Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Ashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati tamasloke bhaktir bhavati naisigi. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, so that means by hearing the book Bhagavatam and by serving the person Bhagavata, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So we pray by our studying of the Srimad Bhagavatam. There's many things which is troublesome to the heart, which is actually deep within our heart, that is completely destroyed. And we get certain amount of loving service to the personality of God, to the Supreme Personality of God. So we have actually seen this Srimad Bhagavatam studies. So here I would request that whoever it's feasible, please open up your video. We can see each other. If you're in a presentable form, and then you can. Otherwise, you can also hear. No worries, you can hear. But just I thought I'd request you. So this rendition of Srimad Bhagavatam is actually, if you can say, the Bhagavatam which we are reading, this rendition of Srimad Bhagavatam. After this rendition of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva wrote. Vyasadeva didn't write before this. Sometimes you would ask, when did Vyasadeva write? So, means to the best of our understanding, Vyasadeva wrote after this rendition of Srimad Bhagavatam. Up till that, there was no book. So, and who is speaking this Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavatam which we started off? The Bhagavatam is being spoken by a gentleman, Shruta Goswami, and is speaking to thousands of sages. Speaking to thousands of sages. He's speaking without a loudspeaker. And a loudspeaker at the time. But they all had the Bluetooth. It was completely, thousands of them were actually sitting out there and they will understand Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we actually sit out there, no audio? Can you all hear me? Siddhi Mataji cannot hear me? You can? Okay. Maji, can you just check? So what happened was, who is this Suta Goswami? You have to understand. Prabhu mentioned a little bit about that, but I thought I'll just tell you, because as we go further and further, we may not touch this subject. So I thought I'll just give you a brief overview, so that those of you who are listening and would like to complete the Srimad Bhagavatam, that will be very nice. So the Suta Goswami, in a way, Suta also means son. But Suta also means someone who speaks out. So he's, but he was called as Suta. But he can also be called as Romaharsana Suta, the son of Romaharsana. Who is this Romaharsana? Romaharsana was once again, he was also a Suta, if I can say. He was also a speaker of the Puranas. And when the Mahabharata war happened, it so happened that Balaram didn't fight. Both their lordships, Krishna and Balaram, didn't fight. So what did Krishna do when he didn't fight? Anyone, please? Anyone, unmute yourself. If you cannot unmute, please chat that you are not able to unmute.
Lord
Krishna was the
Krishna became a
charioteer.
charioteer.
Okay, thank you. Okay, wonderful. I was just thinking that, Srimad Bhagavatam class is a good time to sleep, and that too after morning, some amount of chance that at least someone is awake or not. So Krishna became the Sarati, he did. Balaram said, I don't even want to be there. Balaram said, enough of this, I shall go out for yatra. And so Balaram came out for yatra. In fact, I keep saying that we should all be happy. It was almost during the same time that Balaram even came near Bangalore. Balaram came near Melkote, actually. He visited a few other places. And while visiting, he visited many places. Where it looks like during almost the same time, he visited this place also, Naimisharanya. And the forest, that time also these sages were listening. So there was always used to happen where people used to get together and hear classes, Zoom classes. They used to sit together and and they were listening. And so this gentleman, Roma Harshana, he was also sitting on the Vyasasan, and he was also giving certain knowledge. When the sages were listening, when Balaram came, everyone as a matter of respect, because Balaram is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Yes, I'm saying yes, Balaram is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is also the Supreme Personality of God. Krishna is the what can I say, the Master God, and Balaram is a servant God, if we can use that terminology. That means he's complete in all respects, Balaram is. And because Balaram is complete in all respects, so when Balaram came, and these people were not someone who were watching a movie, they were listening to the scripture, so they actually knew. They had an understanding, like all of you, whoever are listening here, you will have an understanding of what it is. That's why you're here. Otherwise, why would you sit early morning? Yeah? So this, when Balaram came, all of them stood up because they knew that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, except for this gentleman, Romaharsana Shuta. He didn't give respect. Because he didn't give respect, so Balaram didn't have to do anything. No, Balaram just walked in, took up a kusha grass from the ground, and just touched it on the head. He didn't have to wield his mace or anything. He just touched it to the head. And Romaharsana died on this spot death. Spot death. So others glorified Balaram, but then that person died, but the hearing should continue on. So who will give the rendition later? as well as Balaram, who was also thinking that what he should. Balaram, after some time, also thought this may not be nice. I should do some prayashchitta. The Lord trying to behave certain times like human being, because yadyadatsurti shrestras tattadevata janaha. So the Lord himself, Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita also, and the brothers have exemplified it. Sometimes we cannot imitate them, but we can emulate. So Balaram then said, okay, like father, like son, so I shall bless his son to become an expert in the Puranas. He blessed the son of Romaharshana. And that son is actually Romaharshana Sutta, generally called as Sutta. Some places they also call Ugra Savastuta or something, is also called. But generally when we call Sutta, this is this Sutta. But Sutta can be any Kathavachak. But when we say Sutta, it is this Sutta Goswami. And ideally, one thing wonderful which the Lord has also done, and which Srila Prabhupada did, and you all should understand that Srila Prabhupada changed the hippies to happies. And Srila Prabhupada was not doing something which is out of the way. Even here, can go into very details of that, but in this case also, Sutta is not from, means there is a way in which the birth happens. The birth, in the birth also, it is mentioned that our Sutta Goswami was not from a very high birth, or he was not even completely Brahmin also, in a way. So, his Brahminical quality. His mother was a Brahmin, but his father was a Kshatriya, which is against this. It cannot happen that way. It is usually mentioned, but it was that way. But still, the son who was produced, because of the mercy of the Lord and the Vaishnavas, he got all the blessings. We shall touch base on that a little later also, because the sages also give his qualities. They speak about. But this is who Sutta Goswami is. And now this Sutta was a Shrutidhara. What is Shrutidhara? Shrutidhara means he had that capability, if he listens once, he can remember it. And he happened to be in the place when Sukadev Goswami was actually speaking the Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit. And Sukadev Goswami was not giving a summary every class before the class and others. Sukadev was continuously speaking. Of course, he was referring to Maitreya Vacha, means how the previous time when Brahma spoke to Narada, the first rendition, or Narada spoke to Vyasa, the second rendition, or it could be like during Maitreya and Vidura's conversation, that can be. So, and then, so Sukadev was speaking on about that, because he used to always say, Sukadev, you will find that a lot in Srimad Bhagavatam. Whenever a question is asked, they don't put down the question. They actually says, wonderful. Very nice. In fact, the first chapter itself is called Question by the Sages. So that's the importance of questioning. But you have to question it properly. Pari prashnena sevaya. You ask prashna, but you ask it humbly. And so these questions were also there. So these sages were asking questions to Sutta Goswami, about whom I said, And this among all these sages, they had also picked up one of their spokesmen, because there are thousands of them. So it'll become difficult. So one spokesman was there, and that spokesman is Shaunaka. The Sutta is actually speaking to Shaunaka. Shaunaka Rishi and others. So you have to understand that. And Sutta is actually remembering whatever he heard from Sukadev Goswami when Sukadev was speaking to Parikshit. And Sukadev is once again saying whatever he has heard it from his spiritual master, Vyasadeva, his father also. Vyasa is saying whatever Vyasa heard it from Narada, and Narada is saying whatever he heard it from Brahma. Brahma is saying whatever he heard it from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Make sense? I hope you get that. So now, whatever Suta is saying to Saunaka, after this, Kali Yuga had almost come in. So Vyasadeva said, after this, there will be very less Srutidharas. In fact, they will have all of these qualities, what last time Sri Ramchandra Prabhu told us. You'll remember what was the qualities of a person in Kali Yuga. He gave us a acronym for that. Any one quality, if you all can say, please, or write it on the chat.
Kali Yuga people are short-lived.
Okay, short-lived.
Quarrelsome.
Quarrelsome, yeah, lazy.
Lazy. Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay, see, Hari Prabhu writes misguided. Anything else? Okay, okay. Remember this, at least 3 things you can remember. They have behind money. Okay. Yeah, that is something. You remember mud. At least you remember, we all stand on mud, right? So remember this, mud. So you'll remember at least 3 qualities. M for misguided, they are misguided. U for unlucky. Every time you say, oof, I was so unlucky. And D is always disturbed. Always disturbed. And the other 3 qualities SQL. Those of you who know, this is one of the languages in software world. So I also belong to software world. So I remember that when Ramchandra Prabhu taught me. So SQL is S for short-lived. Your lives are very short. And what does Q stand for? The name of the yuga itself. What is the name of the yuga? Quarrelsome. Okay. Sri Hari Prabhu, you're taking all the points. Huh? And N is for what we all do. Laziness. Yeah. So Prabhu said this. So remember this. These are the 6 qualities of a person in Kali Yuga. Prabhu already told that. I'm just reminding you all. And I don't have to remind, you can just look at yourself and you will get that. Or you can look at me also, you'll find this. So, and we are trying to come out of this actually, okay? So Vyasadeva thinks that, okay, these people will be short life. They will be quarrelsome, they will not have time also, and they will not remember also. They cannot be Shrutidhara like Suta. So he said that, let me write it, and then he compiled. That's why in his compilation, you will see up till this rendition. It's not that after that Bhagavad Sapta didn't happen, but up till this rendition, that's what Vyasadeva has written. And some of them actually say that the first canto is not at all Srimad Bhagavatam. They even go to the extent of saying that even second canto is not Srimad Bhagavatam. They said from third canto it starts. But we will follow what our acharyas say. So our acharyas, specifically Jiva Goswami, says that no, it starts off from this itself. And in fact, he says that the first 2 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam are the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God. So we are starting from the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God. And one other nice things which says, you know what is the highest attraction in this material world? What is the highest attraction in this material world? It's a very simple answer. Some of you may be thinking yes or no, no or yes. Let me say it. The highest attraction in this material world is an attraction to the opposite gender. It's the highest attraction, and that's what binds. Srila Prabhupada says this. And if you want to get over that, because that sometimes pulls us down. The way mentioned in the scriptures is to always take darshan of the lotus feet of the Lord. When you go to a temple, when you go anywhere, you should see to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God. Because if your attraction to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God increases, then your attraction to the opposite gender decreases. It could be either ways. It could be attraction of a male to a female or a female to a male. So I'm saying this because the first two cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam is also like the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God. So if you study the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam and second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam continuously, one can get over this. So it becomes very, very, very important. And only after reading up from 1 to 9 canto can we actually go to the most important topic, which is Ashraya. The most important topic, why this Srimad Bhagavatam, what all, which the sages also will ask, is to take the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Once again, I keep saying that, and I'll say that none of the scriptures are meant to make us jnanis. If the scriptures, by reading of scriptures, you are becoming hard, your heart is becoming hard, that means there is going something wrong out there. The scriptures are meant to increase our bhakti. So all of this Srimad Bhagavatam is actually centered around 10 topics, and the 10th topic is the most important, which is shelter of the Supreme Personality of God, Ashraya. And if you are not developing that by reading Bhagavad Gita, by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, then please talk to some senior Vaishnavas or Vaishnavis as to what is going wrong. Then you're not catching the main point out there. So in order to come to that shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Ashraya, which is mostly sheltered around the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, you have to first understand who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is. And you have to understand that the other 9 cantos are very important. So don't jump, read from here, go ahead, and so first canto. And the first canto, at least the first 3 chapters are a little bit of technical in nature. I have tried to put as much as some substance which will keep you awake this early morning. Of course, you all are hungry, so it's okay, you can stay awake. But the first 3 chapters, but you have to understand these chapters. Only when you understand these chapters, then you can go about experiencing the other chapters. So if we see this chapter 1 is actually the question by the sages. So the first 3 slokas, right, which last time very nicely Prabhu explained, it is mentioned that the first sloka itself, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada gave class for 31 days. Lucky, Mataji, you is unlucky. Yeah, so the first 3 slokas are actually prelude. It's starting up, it's only glorifying. So first sloka says what is Srimad Bhagavatam, or rather what is Krishna. Because for any particular thing to start up, you need to know about them. So establish a relation. एक संबंध बनाना है. So the first sloka is the Sambandha sloka. That means you know that, okay, this is Krishna, this is me, hum dono ke beech relation hai. That is Krishna, this is me, I have to build my relation. That is Sambandha. For that, who is Krishna? The first sloka was all about that. Prabhu explained it elaborately last time. You all should go through that. And you can actually go through it many a times. Even while my preparation for today, I was again going through it, and it's like it gives the total who is Krishna. The total definition is that any philosophical question which has to be countered can always be countered by this first verse. If you know this first verse, any philosophical counterance. But once you know him, you need to develop your relation. Like we all don't know each other. Now we know, okay, I didn't know who Trikanti Mataji was, or who Chanaka Seva Prabhu was, or you didn't know who Anadi was, but now we know. Then once we know that, we develop a relation. We start with. That is called Abhideya. So in order to do that, the second one was glories of Bhagavatam, which Prabhu explained that Bhagavatam is nothing but it's Amala Purana. There is no dirt in that. So that is, you consider the glories of Bhagavatam. And then you go to Prayojana. Means once you know about that, you know its quality, you have improved it, then you put in the practical Prayojana. So he invites you to relish Bhagavatam, saying that this is the sweetest one. And why it has become sweetest? Because it is also tasted by. When does the fruit become sweet? What does it say? A fruit becomes
It is tasted by the parrot.
Yes. And in this case, it was bit by Sukha. Sukha is also actually the parrot of Radha and Krishna. Srimati Radharani is parrot actually, Sukha. That's a different story altogether. But yeah. So that is Prayojana. So initially he gives about those three. Then, now that he gives, so this is Vyasadeva writing, right? Before Vyasadeva starts writing, Vyasadeva has to say something. So Vyasadeva says, who is, what is Bhagavatam? What is the glory of that? And he says that why it is more sweet. So why you can go about that. Then now the one which he is going to see is the sitting of where Suta Goswami is, right? Suta Goswami is saying to Saunaka, I told you about that, right? So he's actually going to speak about that. So he says who Suta Goswami is. You need to know about the speaker. Like before any class, you speak, you say, okay, can you give me, when some important speakers, can you give me a few minutes so that I can speak about the speaker? I can tell you who the speaker is. Why is that? Because that will set the right context about who the speaker is, and people will understand what to expect from that speaker. And that's why Vyasa says about Suta. And some of the quality which is amazing out there, which one should know, and which is repeatedly shared in Srimad Bhagavatam, is how to give respect to Vaishnavas. So here he says that Suta Goswami's qualities, there are a lot of qualities, 5 qualities in the 6th, 7th, and 8th slokas he says, but 2 qualities which comes out is he was very submissive to his spiritual master. His spiritual master is once again Vyasadeva. His spiritual master is Vyasadeva. And he says he's the eldest Vaishnava there. So no Maryada Vyatikram. And then he says that he understands all the scriptures and is free from all vices. In fact, the word for free from all vices, what does that mean? Anyone? The word corresponding to that. Yeah, Anagha. So Sri Hari Prabhu, I was remembering. Anagha refers to someone who is free from all vices. So Sri Hari's niece name is Anagha. So next time you call out your niece, you should remember that there is a quality of Suta Goswami. It's free from all vices. Someone who is speaking should be free from all vices. There's a quality of a leader. A leader should be above suspicion. That is a spiritual leader. Nowadays, the leaders, they say that our professional life is different from our personal life. So don't enter into that. So he may be very nasty in his personal life, but we say he's a very good leader because he's managing professionally very well. But that is not the case. To become a leader, you should be above suspicion. And you should, it may not happen that you may not have vices, but you should try to overcome all those vices. And Sutta exemplified that. Like I said, he was not from high birth, but he possessed those qualities by serving the Vaishnavas, by serving his spiritual master, and became freed from all the vices. And because of that, he was accepted as the leader. And when they saw that Sutta came, and Sutta came directly after listening whatever was happening. So Sutta was earlier put in the seat, like I said, Balram kept him and went. But after that, he also went to listen. It's not that you only keep speaking, you also do Shravan, right? So when he heard that Sukadev is speaking, so Sutta had gone. When he went there, that happened in Sukratal, right? Where Sukadev told to Parikshit. So when Sukadev told to Parikshit, Sutta Goswami went, and he was almost in one of the first seats. He was sitting there and listening to him. He remembered everything. So as soon as Sutta Goswami came, all the sages, including Saunaka Adi Rishi, they made Sutta sit on the Vyasasana and said that you have all these qualities. You are free from vices. You are smiling. You are ever smiling. You know about Krishna. Qualification of Guru. You accept someone as Guru when he knows about Krishna. And you have heard from, you are blessed by your Gurus. 4th chapter, 34th verse. Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva durshinaha. That means the jnani, there the jnani is referring to a bhakta, not only a knowledgeable person. He can speak because he has heard it from his spiritual master. That's important. So he says, Sutta, you have heard it and come now, you explain to us. And that's when they start questioning. And that's why the chapter's name is called Question by the Sages. We are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto. How many chapters does Bhagavad Gita have? Anyone, please?
18 chapters, Prabhuji.
Wonderful. So Bhagavatam, 1st canto should have 1 chapter more than that, okay? This is just to make you all remember. 1st canto of Srimad Bhagavatam has 19 chapters. So next time they say you're sitting in a Bhagavatam class, at least you remember that. So you say, yes, Bhagavatam 1st canto has 19 chapters. Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. And in 19 chapter, the 1st chapter is called Question by the Sages. Right? Okay, perfect. And what are the questions they ask? There's not that, okay, you came down here. Can you please tell me 10 ways how we can become millionaire? They didn't ask that. They asked some of the most important questions, which we are going to see. And they only asked the questions. So between 9 to 23 in the 1st chapter, 23 slokas, basically the sages describe the Kali Yuga symptoms, which I already reminded what Prabhu said last time. Mud, remember mud. Mitti ko yaad kariyega, mitti ka English and mud. And remember SQL. So you can remember the 6 qualities. So the sages describe Kali Yuga symptoms, and then they ask the questions. They also say that who will not be eager to hear in Kali Yuga? So he says that. So anyone who is intelligent should be eager to hear. And they ask these 6 questions. What are the 6 questions? Just imagine the questions pattern which is there. The first question they ask, what is absolute and ultimate good for all people in general? I'm not going to say you the answers. The answers will come up in the next weeks as we come. The answers are not there in the first chapter. The answers will come from the second chapter onwards. Like in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna gives 5 reasons why he will not fight. And then the subsequent chapters are details as to why he should fight. His questions are cut by Krishna. Similarly, here there are 6 questions which the sages ask, which will be answered in subsequent chapters by Sutta Goswami. And the first question was, what is ultimate good for all people in general? What is good for everyone? Second question, what is the essence of all scriptures for all the good of all jivas? So it's like, you know, this has been a which has been going right from the start. Every time we want to take the crux of it, the essence of it, and give it to everyone. The best, the most lucrative sport currently in India is the IPL. You know why? Because it's the essence of all the cricketing thing. The best form of cricket game may be Test cricket. Those of you who know about cricket. Because in that you can showcase all your qualities and others. Not that I'm saying you go and play cricket. But this has all the excitement because it has better bowling, better batting, better fielding, and it has some. So it's the essence of all the cricket. So similarly, these people ask the second question, what is the essence of all these scriptures? There are so many scriptures we listen to. What is the essence of all of that? That was the second question. And the first question was, what is good for everyone? Third one, why did Krishna appear in the womb of Devaki? Why? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is always present, but why did he have to come in the womb of Devaki? What is the purpose of Krishna's appearance? Just think the quality of questions that they're asking. Why did Krishna have to come? After that, they asked, not only why did he come, they also asked, what is the adventurous pastimes which he did? What are the different types of pastimes he does? Which Jiva Goswami refers to, what are his incarnations as Purusha avatars? When Krishna comes, Krishna has certain ways of coming to this material world. We'll touch this in chapter 3. Purusha avatar is basically referring to the Vishnu forms. All the 3 types of Vishnu. When someone comes and says you that who is supreme, Brahma, Vishnu, or Maheshwar? First thing you should ask is, which Vishnu? Because generally we say Vishnu. Actually, there are 3 Vishnus, Karanodakshai, Garbhodakshai, and Kshirodakshai, which we will again learn totally. But they asked, the sages asked about that. So the sages have actually asked all the questions that you have to ask now. So that's why there's never a new question, but an old question. So anytime you ask, we can actually refer back to what the previous persons have said and we can answer. And that's how Sukadeva was answering. Sukadeva was always remembering, oh, Brahma, Narada asked this same question. How did he know Narada asked the same question? Because his father, Vyasadeva, had said that my guru had asked this question. To whom he had asked? He had asked to Narada. He had asked to Brahma. Or he says, oh, this same question Vidura had asked to Maitreya. So that's how. So sometimes when people ask in the classes some question, and if you know about it, you really are very happy that these people are becoming serious because they are almost asking the same question which the wonderful sages asked. When they ask, tell us something about his Leelas. So they ask about his Leela avatars. And the last thing they say, they asked about Krishna's appearance. They also know that Krishna had disappeared. All this happened when Suta went and saw Parikshit's disappearance, right? Means after Sukadev said, right? So they knew that Parikshit, this all happened after Krishna left. So then once Krishna has left, when Krishna was there, all the religious principles was there. Dharma was there. Now Krishna left. So where did these all religious principles now take shelter of? So when some major person goes away, then where else will we take our shelter? So these were the 6 questions which they asked. Question number 1, what is good for all people in general? Question number 2, what is the essence of all scriptures? Question number 3, why did Krishna appear? Question number 4, tell us about his incarnation, specifically his Purusha avatar, about the different Vishnus. Question number 5, tell about his Leela avatars, all the other Leelas. And question number 6 is that after he left, after the Lord's departure, where did the religious principles take shelter? These were the questions which the sages asked. And when they asked this question, while asking this question, they said to Suta Goswami, Suta Goswami, you are the captain of our ship. Just understand, if they are calling the captain of the ship, that means they are all also sailors. Like yesterday, we were reading the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, and in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that Arjuna was not under ignorance. He was just put under ignorance so that this message of Bhagavad Gita could be spoken. Otherwise, how will he be able to take it, grasp it? We are reading Bhagavad Gita like n number of times, we are not able to grasp it. So here also, the Shrota and the Vakta are of the topmost quality. The Vakta is Suta, and the Shrota are Saunaka Adi Rishi, all the other rishis. And these all rishis, they are saying, you are the captain of the ship. That means we all know that we are sailors. We have to cross over this ocean of materialness science. But then now that you have been here, you please lead the ship and you tell us which way we should go. Reminds me of a small little pastime to end, because tomorrow is Ramanavami, about the captain of the ship. So this happened when the Lord was trying to cross Sarayu River. And because the Lord was trying to cross the Sarayu River, so the total Ayodhya had almost walked behind Sri Ram when Sri Ram was coming. And Ram somehow asked them to go back, said this will not be right. And at the end, only Ramchandra, his brother Lakshmana, and his eternal consort Sita Maya were there. And he came and he has crossed the river Sarayu, and he sees there's a boat. And the boatman, he asked the boatman, can you please take me from this side to the other side? Help me cross the river, because I have to then leave. The boatman said, no. Ram was like, oh, why is it? He said, oh, I know you are Ram. He said, yes. Can you allow me to go? I'll also give you something. He said, first, you should understand that I already have one daughter. He said, yes. So what? He said, I'm a kevat, so it's very difficult for me to make everything ready to do Kanyadan. Kanyadan is the highest form of dan. He said, okay. So how does that relate here? He said, I have heard. He said, what did you hear? I heard that you went and your feet touched one stone and that turned to a girl. I only have one boat. And that boat also, if you touch and that turns to a girl, gone case. Already one daughter, it will become 2 daughters. And I'm not a man who would shuns away responsibility. I cannot do both Kanyadans. So, which is very difficult. The Lord didn't know what to say. The Lord was smiling in his heart. Maryada Purushottam, Ramchandra Bhagavan didn't know what to say, and he was like, okay. He said, I can allow you on one particular consideration. So that's how the Lord is. Adurlabham. The Lord is very durlabha for everyone, but for devotees is adurlabha by virtue of their devotion. And the kevat, or the boatman, was actually showing that devotion towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was saying that, he said, I can do one thing. He said, what? I have to ensure that I wash your feet, because then I will know that there's nothing touching your feet, because it means that there is some sand or something touching which gets that extra power and it goes away. So you please allow me to wash the feet. Ram said, no need, I'll just go and wash my feet and come back. So it's nothing. Just sit there. I don't know if you'll wash properly or not. You sit, let me wash. Wish we had such relationship with the Supreme Personality of God. So the boatman made Lord Ram sit. He brought the water of Sarayu and then washed the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God. And once he washed the lotus feet, he actually took the Charanamrit. Actually, when you take the Charanamrit, every dirt which is there in your heart goes away. Every material or spiritual obstacles goes away. Because it's Amrit from the Charan. Workman very happily drank that, gave to all his family members, sprinkled it on the heads of everyone. And then he said, okay. He said, okay, now you can come in my boat, because I'm sure that nothing else will happen. Now you can sit in my boat. So he tricked the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he did his devotional service. And after he did that, after he made Lord sit in the boat, he drove. And Lord Ram was very particular. Lord Ram looked at Mother Sita, and Mother Sita, as soon as Ram saw Mother Sita knew what Lord Ram is wanting to. It's mentioned that that's the first class disciple. Even without your spiritual master speaking, if you can understand what your spiritual master wants. Similarly, Mother Sita, even without Lord Ram speaking, Mother Sita could understand. My spiritual master refers to an incident where Srila Prabhupada was giving a class in a room. He was sitting down and he was talking to some guests. He just turned his head like this. He just turned his head like this and then he came back. And in that room, Tamal Krishna Maharaj was there. So all these disciples were there, but Maharaj, just by the head movement of Srila Prabhupada, could understand what it is. He went and closed the window. The window was open and was causing some sounds. Srila Prabhupada didn't have to speak there. And my spiritual master was saying that Tamal Krishna Maharaj is a first-class disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He could understand Srila Prabhupada's mood, and even without Srila Prabhupada speaking on that. And same as, of course, Mother Sita. There is no difference between Srimati Radharani and Krishna. There is no difference between Sita Maya and Sri Ram. They are themselves complete, and they have just taken those incarnations to give pleasure to each other. Right? So Mother Sita took out her earrings and gave it to Lord Ram, and Lord Ram gave that to the boatman, saying that this is the only thing I have. Please accept this as the fare for the passing the river for me. And he says, a boatman never takes fare from another boatman. That's the rule of the game here. He says, I'm a king. How do you call me a boatman? I've just given you. So no, you are a boatman. I'm only crossing this river, but you are the boatman who will help me cross this river of this materialness science. So please remember me, that I'm also a boatman, so don't take anything from me, just take me back. And the Lord smiles and Lord says, okay. So similarly, coming back to our story, one verse before they asked the sixth question, the sages say, Sutta, that you are the captain of the ship which will take us out of this materialness science. All of them are equally capable, but they give respect and they want to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam from him. And so they give him that respect. And then Sutta will speak, which we shall see next week. We shall stop here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If you all have any questions or comments, we have exactly 10 minutes, which we can talk. Otherwise, we can call it a day. No questions? Sure. Okay, then Bala Mataji has asked me to show you all something I can show you, and you all can leave that. This is basically Sukratal or Sukratirtha, where Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Vyasadev, by Sukadev to Parikshit. So you all can see that and have a wonderful day together. Three-minute video. Okay, can you see my screen? Prabhu, can you all see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल, 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 जय जय राधा रमन हरि
Just video.
There are a lot of parrots on tree. Jagannath Guru,
Prabhu, yes.
there are a lot of parrots on tree.
Oh, there are a lot of parrots, Prabhu.
Yeah, and when I visited, they told me that Bhagavatam continues whether somebody listen or not. But somebody reciting Bhagavad continued there actually. In some ashrams. Only difference is slightly Ganges is gone little far. That's all.
Yes.
You visited it.
Never, Prabhu.
But I
Plan is
told
to
you
go
last
this-
time when you went to Kurukshetra, Haridwar, I told you take
Yes,
it there, na,
yes, Prabhu. No, last time we went to Kurukshetra, Krishna willing, and with your mercy, we would like to go this year, Prabhu.
Yeah, it's very near from Haridwar. Actually, if you Haridwar to Delhi travel, so just from Haridwar about 40 kilometers or something actually.
We'll plan out, Prabhu, this time.
Right. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Very good. Beautiful sight. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Please
Krishna,
join us.
Prabhuji. Dandavad pranam.
Hundred
Hare
pranams.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Happy Ramnami Guruji.
Happy Ram Navami, Mataji. Tomorrow, please, if possible, come to our temple. We have program from 10:30 onwards. Where do you stay, Pushpa Mataji?
Okay.
Where do you stay?
I am staying in Chenamanakere Achkat Bansankrita behind
Banas-
Vidyapita.
Oh, Vidya, behind Vidya. Okay, little far, but if it's possible, please come to Sheshadipuram. It would be nice. We can see
Okay,
you.
okay, Guruji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Indra, Hare Das Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Lileshwari Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dhanavad. Sri Hari Prabhu, can we start?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Sure.
Hare Krishna.
Dhanavad.